The government controls what we eat. They control what we think. They control what we feel. And then we wake up one day and be like, damn, I got...
But isn't that American dream? That American dream is... Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality. But isn't that American dream? That American dream is. Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality. But isn't that American dream? That American dream is. Because there's more people that live that type of fucking American reality.
Q9, my futon, fold it up and smoke it. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for. Transgression, a progression of a war we ain't asked for.
It's madness, yo. All the things that we could talk about.
Call it.
But let's talk about these urban circumstances real quick.
And basically, it's
we got this.
So,
revolution.
Winner is frosty hand. Muhammad is the fame's name, forever stand.
Standing on royal fusing of justice for the few, ridiculed by the pale terrorists, bent on genocidal obsession, rooted in fear of neglection and abandonment, fueled by nightmares of ancestors' jealousy.
Because at the end of the day, I still want to be able to I don't dislike George Washington.
The kind of friends I think all friends should be like my friends. My friends are the kind of friends I think everyone needs. My friends see the things at times I don't see. My friends hate the police.
What has changed?
Are deemed the criminals, and the blacks are deemed the criminals.
shut up and help.
Reflection ain't nothing but the inner child trying to see you. You gonna look? You gonna pick up that book?
Lord, keep me far from the faith. Guide me through night and day. Teach me your ways. Show me the righteous way to sway. Lord, can you teach me, please? Show me the way, I'd say. Grand Risings, and welcome to another episode of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal. We're excited to have you join us on this thoughtful discourse and community engagement. The Urban Conservative is proudly sponsored by the Leon Black Network, an organization committed to promoting transparency, truth, and accountability in our media landscape. Here at the Urban Conservative, our mission remains steadfast to bring you the latest news directly from the streets, addressing critical topics such as gun violence, crime, politics, and perhaps most importantly, exploring solutions to the profound challenges our communities face. As we embark on this third season, the focus is clear. It's time to actively contribute to the transformation of our communities for the better. How can we achieve this? The answer lies in a multifaceted approach that starts with reconnecting with our core family values. Strengthening our sense of community is paramount, fostering bonds that transcend the barriers that often divide us. Moreover, it involves embracing our foundational roots, recognizing the historical and cultural threads that weave through the fabric of our society. In this season, we are calling for more than words. We seek action. It's a plea to move beyond mere rhetoric and engage in tangible, impactful initiatives that contribute to positive change. The time for empty words has passed. Now more than ever, we need to put our convictions into action. Together, united by a common purpose, we can make a substantial and lasting difference in the well-being of our communities. So join us on this journey as we explore not only the challenges, but also the opportunities for growth and progress. Together, let's turn our shared vision for stronger, safer, and more connected communities into a reality. Thank you for being a part of the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal, a platform dedicated to fostering change and making a positive impact on the world around us. Shut up and help. Y'all already know what it is. It's Black History Month. And all this month I have done our ancestors, our community leaders, our Black greats, people that we maybe not know about, have never heard about. And this morning, I wanted to talk about Otis Frank Boykin, an often overlooked African-American inventor. Was born on August 29th, 1920 in Dallas, Texas. Despite facing financial challenges, he excelled at Booker T. Washington High School in Dallas, graduating as valedictorian in 1938. Boykin's journey continued at Fisk University in Nashville, where he balanced college with work at an aerospace laboratory. After graduating in 1941, Boykin joined Majestic Radio and TV Corporation in Chicago, rising to a supervisory role. In 1944, he worked at the P.J. Nielsen Research Laboratory. Financial constraints led him to leave graduate studies at the Illinois Institute of Technology in 1946, prompting him to start his own company, Boykin Fruit Incorporated. In 1959, Boykin secured his first patent for the wire precision resistor, revolutionizing electronic equipment manufacturing. His subsequent inventions including an improved resistor in 1961, significantly lowered production costs for devices like transistor radios, guided missiles, television, and IBM computers. Boykin's impact extended to medical technology as his invention played a crucial role in the development of artificial heart pacemakers. Despite facing adversity, Boykin continued to innovate, patenting 26 electronic devices throughout his career. He passed away in Chicago on March 13, 1982, leaving behind a legacy of groundbreaking contributions that deserve recognition in the history of inventors. I didn't know much about him, and that's why I wanted to read and tell you guys about Otis Boykin. But I actually have something also better too. I have a video that is about 3 minutes long that really goes into more detail of what Mr. Boykin, his inventions and what he did. I know I could describe it, but putting it into actually seeing it is better than just having me describe it. So I'm going to play this video real quick, and then we'll be right back. So it's 3 minutes and 25 seconds.
Otis Boykin was born August 29, 1920, in Dallas, Texas. He was born to parents Walter and Sarah Boykin. His father was a carpenter and preacher, and his mother was a maid. At a year old, his mother passed of heart failure. This possibly motivated him to later create his most known invention, the resistor, which helped to make the pacemaker more efficient. Growing up in Dallas, he attended Booker T. Washington High School and graduated top of his class as valedictorian in 1938. He received a scholarship and moved to Nashville to attend the HBCU Fisk University. While at Fisk, Boykin worked as a laboratory assistant at the university's nearby aerospace laboratory, and he graduated from Fisk in 1941. Upon graduation, He moved to Chicago and began working two jobs, one as a clerk at the Electro Manufacturing Company, where he became foreman, along with working for the Majestic Radio and Television Corporation. By 1944, he began working for P.J. Nielsen Research Lab. In 1946, he, alongside his mentor, Dr. Hall F. Fruit, started Boykin and Fruit Incorporated, and they began drafting inventions. Boykin's first patent came in 1959, the wire precision resistor. His invention allowed a precise amount of current to flow into a particular device or component. 2 years later, he progressed his invention, creating a more affordable electric resistor that could be mass-produced. This ultimately led to lowering the cost of manufacturing electronic devices, making them more affordable to the general public. His resistors were incorporated into numerous products, including guided missiles and IBM computers. In the early 1960s, Boykin was a senior project engineer at the Chicago Telephone Supply Corporation. While working for the company, Boykin conducted much of his research for the pacemaker. Using his technology, he made the pacemaker more efficient. Today, it has helped to save and lengthen the lives of millions of men and women around the world. Boykin moved to Paris in 1964. Here, he created electronic innovations for the French market of consumers. Boykin created the electrical capacitor in 1965 and an electrical resistance capacitor in 1967. Over his entire lifetime, Boykins patented 26 electronic devices and created a number of consumer products, including a burglar-proof cash register and a chemical air filter used in gas masks. Boykins' contributions to society changed the consumer electronics market, and they continue to save lives today.
So I want to give a shout out to Odious Boykin. For me, just understanding and realizing that there's a lot of things that public education didn't teach us, or things that they left out, because those type of things we should be proud of, to know that people that look like us were able to achieve things without affirmative action, without EOE, without DEI, even without the Civil Rights Act. So there was things that people could do all on their drive, their motivation, their merit, and still people disliked them, looked down on them, but you couldn't take away their talent. You couldn't take away their God-given ability, right? So that's, for me, I see, and honestly, Otis's story made me really want to, and it's not just Otis's story, because it's our story too. Even though this was years ago, it's not what it really wasn't years ago, and that's why I really wanted to get into this discussion today, because we're at a time where I think people are not going to say be misled, but words change, and words have changed since the start of time, since the start of evolution of time. How I feel, and even when it comes to Blackness. And that's why I wanted to really have this discussion. And I'm glad Jontel joined, for the simple fact of that this is a discussion that kind of yesterday we were a little bit having, and maybe not in such the context of where I wanted the conversation to go. So I'm hoping that, not gonna say hoping, because I know it's gonna go this way. So, but I called this episode Redefining Blackness, from Resistance to Empowerment. And I say that for a reason. And I'm gonna get into my explanation, and then when I'm done with my explanation, I want John Tell to speak and how he feels about blackness, because that's kind of what I'm going to explain. Uh, for me, how I see my blackness is I've had to fight for my blackness, and I've had to fight for my blackness of for something that I maybe still don't even realize what it actually is, and I'm okay with that. I just know that from the things that I've researched, from the things that I've found out through my lineage, through my family history, is that I'm a Black American. I, I can't find, and beyond DNA tests, I don't know where my family comes from in Africa. Not and that not saying that I don't want to have a relationship or an understanding of Africa, because that's not what I'm saying. I want to understand where my people came from, where my great granddaddy came from, beyond of just finding a number. That's it, because I don't find a Neil, you know. So it's that for me is where I, you know, feel like fighting for my blackness, because I've had to fight for it my whole life. Uh, and I don't think people fully understand that, and to see that the different terminology and the different words have changed over time to be things are acceptable. And I'm gonna stop right there, because I will have more to say as it goes on. But I just want you guys to get a kind of understanding for me what my blackness means to me. Negro, if you ain't paying attention.
I am paying attention.
Okay,
I was
okay.
taking
No, I
notes.
was just saying. I know. I'm just saying.
I was just making sure you was done.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
So that's it? Okay. So to be black is to fight for your blackness. That was the first thing you said, is for you had to fight for your blackness your whole life. But I feel the same way. I was always told I'm not ghetto enough. I'm not hood enough. I talk too white. I'm too well spoken. But then on the other side, I always had my white teachers, because I ain't never had a black teacher, say, "You're so well spoken. You're not like the others." So both worlds treated me a certain way, and I always had to skirt a fine line until I got to the point where I said, well, fuck it. And I've always been alienated in speaking along those lines of things. So anyway, to be black is to fight for your blackness. I feel as though many, if not most, black people feel that they've had to fight for their blackness, whether it's within black communities themselves or within the greater American landscape and social hierarchy, whether it's code switching at work to making sure that you're well spoken in class. We are not a monolith. We are all also very different. So our perception of what blackness is and our own self-reflection, self-perception varies greatly, because again, we all have different percentages of African heritage and DNA and ancestry, European and Asian and indigenous ancestry, DNA, culture, ethnicity within our blood. So we all might have different components, textures, percentages of how we perceive what our blackness is to us, and that is okay. But at the same time, you look at the LGBTQ plus community and how we're all very different, but we're all grouped into one group. So is it fair for all these different, I'm not the same thing as lesbians, but I'm thrown into the same category. I'm not the same thing as someone that's half black, but I'm thrown in the same category because of the one drop rule. So is it fair? Is either one of them fair? That's a question for people to ponder, and I'd love to know people's thoughts about that, because it's very textured and complex, and I don't think there is a wrong answer to that. But again, we're not a monolith, so I want people to remember that. That's why we say communities, not community. We were bred to work and self-hate. So of course we fight each other. Of course we hate each other. Of course we have this component of self-hate to us. So it creates this turmoil within. It creates this battle within to fight for your blackness. So of course we fight against each other. Um, Words to describe us change, yes, and so do our perceptions of what blackness is. So over time, I think that it's always important to check ourselves and understand that there are multiple generations living at the same time, and it's okay for one word to be politically correct or incorrect in a number of different facets. And I think people forget that it's okay for that to be possible. It is a truth, it is real, and it is perfectly within reason. So it's what I think is not okay is to harp on a different group of people just because they have a different idea of a certain word. Um,
Well,
so that those are my takes.
right. No, and I appreciate that because there people don't understand the fights that the different fights that we have to go through to sometimes um prove our blackness for the simple fact that people see black a certain way, you know. And I always thought about that because you
Right,
you made a great point in the beginning when you said that at school, because you talk differently, you were articulate, you were
right,
I'll say advanced, right?
right, right,
And but a lot of people, when we see people like that, because certain people are called that black excellence, and
right,
then we'll be like, well, what makes him different than me? All because he speaks differently?
right,
Is that what I'm saying? So then we start to look at people differently because in our minds we feel like the only reason why they're succeeding or people look at them differently than us is for the simple fact of
put it this way,
that.
if a black girl's name Ashley, does that automatically make her a better citizen?
Right, 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 right. No, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
And that's I feel the the elephant in the room, right?
Yep.
Because we can sit here and just like I'll speak on it yesterday, we were literally saying the same shit, just in different context,
Mhm.
right? And I thought about that all fucking day yesterday. All day yesterday, right? I thought about that because I got a couple calls after I
What?
got off. Yeah, no, 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 it's all good. I figured I would, right? So on the way home from work last night, I was talking to Ashley and I said, "Did you listen to the episode today?" And she's like, "Yeah, I had to get off."
Uh,
I said, "Why?" And she's like, "Because I hate when you two do that." And I said, "I know." And I said, "The crazy thing of it is, I let emotion get involved
right.
instead of just looking at the shit for what it really was." And you know what I'm saying? And she was like, "Yeah." I said, "I know I got a couple calls too." And she was like,
Mm.
"Damn, what they say?" I said, "Basically the same thing that you
Mhm.
just said." And I had to really think about that. And I thought about that all day yesterday because I don't have a problem with being critiqued, right?
Right.
Because I want to do better. Uh and what happened yesterday is that, you know, I'm a work in progress. I'm a WIP. My patience is there, but it ain't fully all the way where it needs to be.
And that's why I always give you credit. And like, if you go off, I let you go off because I know at the end of the day, you're always going to turn right around, reflect on what you said and did, and then think about it and have dialogue again. So, like,
Right.
at the end of the day, it ain't nothing for me. Like, if people just new to this and they just jump on and hear us going off, they might think one thing. But for me personally, it's another because I already know what it is between us. So, just for the
Right.
record, people tuning in right now, it ain't no thing because I personally know at the end of the day, if I feel as though you coming at me or you just going off for no reason or your emotions get the best of you is what I should say, then it's not going to stay that way. The
Right.
the best part of being human, one of those things is self-reflection, checking yourself, accountability, knowing where you did wrong. When you know better, you do better. Like you said, WIP, work in progress. It really is. And that's one thing I always will give you credit for. And one thing that I take note of and admire and try to be mindful of myself, because us as black men, it's important. Like, there's a lot of
things that society will throw at us, right? And we have to stand on and just take and eat. But at the same time, if we're to be strong, we have to be vulnerable, which means checking ourselves before anyone else can check us. So we can say, nope, we checked that. Now, what else you got to say?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's where, you know, and that's why I literally wanted to talk about blackness, is because of the simple fact of I feel like a lot of our problems come from miscommunication,
Mm-hmm.
misunderstanding, and not being knowledgeable of our roots, because we get caught up in wordplay. And that's what happened yesterday. I got caught up in wordplay. And then at the end of the day, it wasn't even wordplay. It was me not understanding the context of how you were using certain words.
Right. Yep.
And that's the one thing that we have to understand. And that's what I can't stand them Twitter spaces like that when they get to be, because it's not just two people, you got like 6 or 7, and
right,
we'll never get anywhere for the simple fact that nobody wants to take accountability, because that's the only way you're getting a unity is to be accountable. That's the only way. And that's another reason why I wanted to talk about this too, is because we have so many people that look like us, say they talk like us, say they walk like us, but when it's time to vote and write legislation, they definitely ain't nowhere near us. So I found a video from, actually I don't know when it's from, but this guy is explaining the use of the word black, and I found it to be very, very interesting. It's only about a minute long, but he gets into very good context. And then I want to talk about some other things that go along with this, with black. So let me play this. Oh, whoops, got to. That's saying for
introduced through the Black Panther, through Black history. Introduced a lot of. I was introduced through the Black Panther to Black history. Because when I come up, if you call me black, it's just like calling, saying your mama, or that proverbial on your shoulder. And then through the civil rights movement, even the entertainers, Curtis Mayfield, James Brown, all the Temptation, Smokey. But James Brown was the most powerful. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Stokely Carmichael. What kind of power we want? Black power. Fred Hampton introduced a lot of. I was introduced.
So that's somebody elder that is saying that when he was growing up, to hear the word black, it was more of disrespect, right? So I wanted to wonder, and he brings up a very great point about the civil rights era, because when you look at Black American problems, you can look through history and start to see things change, right? You can see things start to shift, and then you start to understand why. And it's because they've always seen us as a certain way. They've always have seen us as a certain way. And I'm not just talking about white people, because I'm talking about the world, period. I'm talking about the word, period, because what does black mean in Spanish? If you're a man, Negro. If you're a woman, Negra. So it's all, and words change. Again, the how people take it, the context, the way that, over time. So And I don't know where the hell I'm going with this. Kind of do, but I kind of don't. Because you see how he even says that in the video of that, you know, James Brown, the Temptations. You know, one thing that he brought up was "I'm Black and I'm Proud," which was one of James Brown's biggest songs. One of his biggest songs. And then it takes me back to even Lil Baby in 2020, who had one of the biggest songs that year. That was about the movement, about Minneapolis, about George Floyd, about police brutality, about Breonna Taylor. And have we gotten anywhere? But other than, you know, because when you sit there and you listen to James Brown, even probably to this day, you say, "I'm Black and I'm proud." What do? You feel good. You feel good. You know what I'm saying? When you get out in them streets and you're taking over and, you know, you're out there, "Black Lives Matter." What do? You feel good, right? Because you feel like you're fighting the system. You feel like you're fighting the system. But all the while, because of who you're fighting for, and I want people to remember this, who you're fighting for, they write legislation so that they find it illegal. They find it illegal. All for standing up for what? Black. Black. I would love for somebody to tell me I'm wrong. Or at least kind of like I'm in a wrong direction, or we can even put it into greater context. Because that's what I want to have. I want to have conversations of like this, because at the end, I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to switch the screen because I want people to see this. Hold on, let me pull it up. Okay. So I got it. Oh yeah, I forgot I can do it that way. So on the screen, can you guys see it?
Nah.
Probably not.
Nope. You gotta add it to the.
All right. That's good. Right there. Right there is good. Okay. Oh, whoops. No, you can't see it. Yeah, I gotta add to the stage. Yeah. Okay. Whoops.
There you go.
Now, okay. There we go. All right. But
zoom in a little bit.
I gotta close this. I gotta close these ads.
Yeah, zoom in a little bit though.
All right, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Zoom in more?
Nah, I can see it.
That's 150.
Oh, that works too. Yeah.
Except for this dumbass ad. So this is, I want people to see, is the top 20 ancestry groups in the U.S. And this starts in the year 2000. So you see there was 42 million German, 30 Irish, 24 million Black African Americans. Then you see number 4 comes in fourth is English. I don't know what the hell American is, but there's 20 million Americans.
That is a multitude of different things. So it could be indigenous people, it can be Black people, it could be white people, it could be multiracial or biracial people.
But how can it be okay?
Because all those people don't identify
white
because all those people might identify as American over anything else.
Yeah, because you see American, you see Mexican, Italian, Polish, French, American Indian, Scottish, Dutch, Norwegian, Scottish, Irish, Swedish, and then you see white. European. So here go the 2015 results. Let's see if anything has changed, right? German, Black, African American,
a lot
Mexican,
has changed.
of any race, Irish,
Irish got booted down the floor. It used
American,
to be number 2.
Italian. Right. And I want people to see other things too of certain language, wordage. Because you see Chinese,
French Canadian, number
Filipino,
20 now.
So there we go. Mexican, English, American, Italian, Filipino. So then we go to the 2020, the latest ones. White is number 1. Now look at the population. 229 million.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where? I just want to show
Because I'm
something. I
guessing
thought
it
this
takes.
was really
I'm guessing it.
odd, right? Because I thought, okay, maybe they bunched in the
No, I think
Germans
it
and
takes
all of
all
them
the.
together, right? But no, they didn't, because
Yeah,
you
exactly. They
still
took
have
all the different white
American,
ethnicities and bunched them
German,
in.
English, Irish, they still have all their own. So who the fuck is white? I really want to know, because I always believe, because everybody you go to, most people that are American, that are German, who are Irish, who are Italian, who are European, what do they consider themselves? White. They don't consider themselves German. They don't, half the time they don't even be knowing if they're German or not. Well, I think I'm German. Well, you don't know? Well, I know I'm white. Well, what is white? I ask people that all the time when they say that they're white. I said, you're just white? What is white?
Mm-hmm.
What is white?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly want to know, because, like, for people to say that, I'm black, I can at least say, well, I know my oh yeah, I can hear you, my bad. You were going in and out, but I could hear you.
Got you.
But it's crazy, because, like, even when we ask people, okay, you're black, but black from where? Because, we see people that come over from Africa, they're Nigerian, they're Sudanese, they're Nigerian, Ethiopian, Somali. You know what I'm saying? South
They don't
African.
they don't identify as black. They identify as African.
Thank you. So that's why why do they? And this is another thing of why I wanted to, and this is.
But there's a difference. Think about the difference, though. Those people are coming from Africa to here, whereas these people that identify as white, I came under that moniker from being born and raised here in America, where that name really came to popularity. Because over in Europe, they don't say they're white, they say they're Italian, they say they're Greek, they say they're British, they say they're Welsh. Over here, that you don't start with that. When we say what's your background, what's your ancestry, then they say that. But when you say what are you, people just say I'm white, I'm black, because that's the culture here. So when people bring their cultures here, they don't associate with that. So, like, I think one of the things is that big number, the 229, might be a grouping of all the different white so-called nationalities and cultures thrown into one.
So, but the only thing that really shakes me, right, is the number that it jumped. Because even if they did put, Germans only went down, I think, 33 million. So, okay, let's take that. That's still 190 million. Where? Because Germans didn't go down that much. I just said Germans. No other group went down significantly like that, unless it was the Irish. Because yeah, that one about 25. But yeah, I mean, that's still a large number, because that's 46. You got the Mexican. I don't know. I want to show why I'm even talking about this, because there was a post on, well, it's not a post, it's a tweet. Let me get it right. A tweet on Twitter. Because it's not, I guess we call it a post, but they use it as a talking point to vote a certain way. And I don't believe that's, for me, I think that's using a narrative because they use the 2015 and not the 2020. And it's like, I think if you compared both, you could see that maybe we do outnumber, but I don't see how. For me, it just blew my mind that, God bless America. Hold on, okay. Here it is. So here it is the know your real number value in America, right? This is what scares them. We got numbers, y'all. Can y'all see that? I don't know. So now can you see it? I switched over to Twitter.
It's a little small. Can you zoom in?
Yeah, I was trying to, and I don't know if it is going to work or not. But it says our 13% makes up the second largest group in America. We're not a minority. They are. But see, this is the 2015 results. Now, I want to go back and share this other tab. 2020. Why? I feel like you're misleading people when they say that we outnumber. Because when you look at the census, I just feel like people want to rather push a narrative instead of facts to try to make a point. And at this day and age, that shit's only confusing people instead of educating them. So Framboise wanted a nation that didn't know their history. It was part of the Eastern European immigrants to be welcomed as white. Prior to that, white included Arabs, Turks, Moors, and others.
Correct.
The more you know.
So right. You think about Aryans. You think about the Caucasus Mountains, everything around that part of what we think of as the Middle East, whatever you want to call it, the Anatolia, that whole area, Turkish people, Persian people, Iranian people, Iraqi people, those all were considered white people. Like I was telling you while I was talking about on my show, talking about India and how Black people came to India and they were at the height of society. They were revered. Blackness was loved and cherished until Aryans came in, and Aryans were the fair-skinned, thin-nosed, straight-haired race of people known as white people that came in, turned everything on its head in India. We have the caste system that we have today, but over time, those people just branched out in all directions, from what I understand. And that is a lot of context to what the party of the World War II from Germany, y'all know who I'm talking about, those people based their superiority was somewhat off of that race. And I think that has a part to play in, like, the whole idea of whiteness, what it means to be white and or superior, allegedly.
I also wanted to get into the whole Blackness for a reason too, because I don't think people understand or know what's going on, because we have a new crime bill that is in Congress that is being talked about. That is even worse than the 1994 crime bill. And I want to educate people, because for the simple fact of, you have one state right now that is in the process that their governor actually did call a special is a trip, and it's a damn sham because it is one of the worst prison systems in America, especially when it comes to our black and brown brothers and sisters. And I'm talking about the state of Louisiana, that executed my great uncle, not once but twice, and was innocent. So to see that this is what they're doing, because if people don't understand what's happening, this is a preamble to basically what our Congress is going to do. And do we want our kids, our future generations, to have to deal with these things? And I need people to understand that, because I see all of these legislators, I see all of these black leaders saying how bad the 1994 crime bill is and was, but haven't repealed it, haven't done much about it, beyond saying that they were sorry. And some ain't even done that shit. Some ain't even acknowledged it. Some say it was Biden still. Well, I don't know what the hell Biden thinks, because if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. So lock them up, Joe. Lock them niggas up. But I want to play this video because it's from Gary Chambers Jr., who is out of Louisiana. He's on Twitter. If you don't follow him, please go do. Very bright young man. He's in his, I think, late 30s, maybe early 30s. I started following him last year. Found him during a reparations conversation. Him and I think the guy's name is Marcel. He's from South Carolina. Republican conservative men. And I really took a liking to them not because they were Republicans, but because of their policies. Because their policies were focused on poor communities, poor black communities. And it was about uplifting and empowering us instead of just telling us to just pick ourselves up by the bootstraps. So let me get into this Gary Chambers real quick. I guess I got to take it off.
Let me read you some of the things that's about to happen. Some of y'all don't like to vote. You think it's dumb. Let me read you some of the things that's about to happen in Louisiana because y'all don't vote. We got a new governor. He's doing a special session on crime. Let me read you some of the laws they're about to change. Number 1, to restrict parole eligibility. Number 2, to restrict or repeal the earning rate of good time or the diminution of sentence for good behavior and earn compliance credit. Number 3, to expand the criteria for which probation and parole may be revoked for technical violations. Number 4, to require a unanimous vote of the parole board to grant parole and to increase the powers of the board. Number 5, to require electronic access to criminal records and certain records from juvenile delinquency proceedings. Let's go to number 8, to add the crime of illegal use of a weapon or dangerous instrumentalities to the listings of crimes of violence. Number 9, to increase the penalties for the crime of carjacking. Number 11, to lower the age of a person deemed to be a child for the purposes of dispositions and sentencing for the commission of delinquent acts. Lowering the age that we could put kids in jail. Number 12, to expand the list of crimes for which a child may be confined to the custody and care of the Department of Public Safety and Corrections and to remove eligibility of modifications of certain sentences. 13, to grant immunity from liability based on certain criteria for peace officers and public entities that employ or appoint peace officers to give cops more immunity. Number 15, to specify the method of administering the sentence of death, to provide for civil and criminal liability, and to provide the confidentiality or records relating thereunto. New ways to kill people with the death penalty. Pro-life, right? Damn. Number 17, to add limitations and restrictions regarding the filing of post-conviction relief. Number 18, to authorize the carrying of concealed weapons by certain persons without the necessity of obtaining a permit. Number 19, to grant immunity from liability for persons authorized to carry concealed handguns. So for all y'all in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, and all of the surrounding areas who decided to opt out of the Louisiana governor's race and not vote last year, He giving you his thank you card
right
here. Calling card, legislature going in session. They coming.
Wow. And the crazy part of it is what people don't even understand. I'm going to show you something else because this shit blew my mind. So as you see on the screen is Louisiana's over-incarceration is part of a deeply rooted pattern. There was a part that I wanted to read in here. So Louisiana had the highest incarceration rates in the country over the last decade by fairly wide margins. The state's population is roughly 62% white and 33% black. But those numbers nearly flip behind bars where 34% of the inmates are white and 64% are black. Almost double black people's representation in the general population. Now tell me how is that legislation not directed and towards black individuals? To keep them incarcerated, to keep them in slavery. And how is that not to keep us down? And people don't even understand that.
Yeah, because the way that they have, when you go to prison down there, they immediately put you to work. And you covered an episode where you talked about they say supposedly that they give you a choice. It's voluntary, but they really don't give you a choice, as you said. And then again, social pressure, peer pressure. Do you really want to sit in your cell all day? Or do you want to go do something? But then again, you're forced and pressured to work for nothing, essentially.
Exactly.
So what does it look like they're doing? Modern day chain gang to me.
And that's what's crazy to me, bro, because it's like nobody is really talking about this but a few black conservatives. And it shocks me because a lot of this legislation, because let me see who the governor is for Louisiana. If I remember correctly, I think he's a Republican. Louisiana governor. Oh yeah. Jeff Landry, and he's a Republican, but he used to be a Democrat. I remember now because I've written his administration an email about my great uncle, about Willie, about how I can get his case looked at because there's enough evidence that shows that Willie was innocent to get his name clean and exonerated for a crime he didn't commit. But damn, yeah, that shit, just reading that and even hearing it blows my mind because we have a crime bill coming, and a very scary ass one. But they're gonna hype it up like it's gonna, just like they did in 1990, 94, how they said it was gonna do great things in our communities, and it didn't. This is just another wave, and we're gonna allow it to happen if we don't educate, if we don't get out there and vote. Because I heard a great thing last night in a Twitter space of everybody wanted to hype up Joe Biden's primary in South Carolina, that it was a landslide, that he won. It was he had 97% of the vote. But what people didn't understand is he only had 4% of registered voters, of Democrat voters, because it's a primary, right?
Wow.
So really, right, people aren't seeing that. They can call that a land. I don't call 4% of the vote, and he gets 90% of it. That's like these little polls they do.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's such a narrative. It's such a, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. And it's like, but if you look at prior primaries out there, you will see for yourself that the numbers are way off.
and we know this, but for other people that don't, it's
Right.
also another way to skew public opinion and persuade people to say, "Oh, he's really doing well. Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna vote for him then."
Right. And what's crazy is you hear certain people, because some people are scared for Trump to get back into office. And at the end of the day, I don't really care. I care more about what's going on more locally when it comes to elections, because Trump does more stuff that's going to affect everybody. So if I got to deal with it, then everybody dealing with it, because he at the top. So end of the day, that's somewhere where we can unite and fight, whatever. But when it comes to the local things, that's stuff that I can get out here and make some noise about, so that people are aware of what's going on. And I'll tell you right now, man, Minnesota's a shit show. A shit show. We have a whole shit show going on right now, for the simple fact of that our mayor, Minneapolis mayor, made it a joke the other. Well, supposedly, I don't care what it was, but even if it was a joke, it was a distasteful joke. And literally, because downtown is slipping, they're losing their business. People aren't coming down there. So he made a joke was saying that people that work from home are nasty cat people, and lazy and all these things. And so he was trending on Twitter yesterday, and people were saying oh, look at how your mayor is talking about you, and blah blah this, blah blah that. And he's like, at the end of the day, if people really thought about and understood his words, he was talking about a certain few. He wasn't talking about everybody downtown, because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure there's people that work from home and would prefer to come back downtown and work. It's you have these activists that do that type of shit, and they be them cat people. That's what everything about his statement or joke, whatever it was, he was directing that shit towards a crowd of people that he knows that, because of the voices they have, are very loud and powerful. He was making a jab at them. But if you're not in the movement and you don't know what's going on, you're not going to understand. And that's what happened, is that the news media was able to take his joke and use it out of context for whatever advantage they want to do, because people weren't going to understand what he was saying. Because when you really do look on Twitter, I can give you 5 names, and if you look on their Facebook and Twitter profiles, they have cats all over their pages. And he was directing that shit at these organizers, and that's what people don't even realize, because they're cat people. I just thought this shit was funny how these whiny crybabies were making, oh, he's making cat jokes, talking about lazy. Oh, he's not. He's talking about you activists that want to come to city council, to come to city hall, use your mommy and daddy's money to protest. You little yuppies. I'm not saying that you guys are all bad, but some are. Yeah, oh, definitely. Oh, yeah, I agree with you, Robert, that it had a lot to do with the Downtown Improvement District, because they're going to lose money. There's contracts that if they can't fulfill, why would Target or Honeywell or Cargill pay to keep our let's go U.S. Bank, who I think just left downtown? Why would they continue to stay, and the money that they're putting into this isn't even being used properly? They're putting millions and millions of dollars for safety, for all different types of shit. And you think they get any of that? They're not. They're not getting their dollars worth right now. So of course they're going to move. And then they want to continue taxing them, because I'll tell you right now, what other people don't see is Minnesota is about to have a housing tax on our paychecks and when we go to the store. So y'all want to sit there and whine, find something else to whine and cry about, because there's so many other things that we possibly could than your mayor making a joke. Like dead ass. I'm not even trying to be like condescending or I guess I don't even know no articulate ass words to be smart with right now or funny with. But yeah, basically, and people don't even understand that because they want to take all this shit serious, but then when it comes to talking about people that are actually being bombed or people that are losing their lives and about maybe a rape or somebody's baby sleeping and getting shot and then that's what all you niggers get. Damn, that's how you feel, bro? But you're not racist? But y'all think that shit's funny. Or you have a black legislator who's talking about black people and then you share a gif of a black man being dragged out of a car by a cop. Like, what type of shit is that? It's not funny to me. And that should be crazy as hell to me, how we sit there and say that we have people out here saying that they're black. Just because your skin color is black or they want to consider you black, don't make you one of us. Because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Because I look a lot at these niggas as Uncle Ruckus. I'll be like, stop saying that you are by any means necessary type of nigga when the minute the popo come, you want to act like a ho-ho. Might as well just go jump on the other side. You talking about, you get paid by the city, you a piggy. Well, put on that nose, go over there and put on the costume. Just like how they got that Chick-fil-A costume on, talking about eat more chicken. Go over there and just put on the piggy outfit and be like, oink, 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 oink. Like, shit, that's all I see. You can't even, I sit there and I can't even say, I ask questions, right? To community leaders or organizations that are led by white people, but say they're for black people. And then they send their minions. They send their puppets. And it's like, I'm trying to be respectful and ask a question. That's it. And then they want to send their minions. Like, I don't understand that. Why not just answer the question? Why not answer it? Because I get tired of our so-called community leaders always juking and jiving away from real questions. What happened? Did I miss breaking news?
You be cracking up with the juke and the jiving, my bad.
Oh, bro, that's how they be though. They be just like the police. How they supposed to be protecting, serving, they be ducking and swerving. Like that ass. I swear to God, it is the only time these people are accessible is during an election year. That's why I don't fuck with a lot of these politicians, because at the end of the day, they're not all accessible. They claim to be, and I'll tell you right now, they only answer when they want to answer. Not all of them, because I can tell you right now, I could pick up my phone right now and call 3 different legislators that I know, state legislators, and I guarantee at least one of the 3 would pick up. And I already know who it would be, because he's always been that way with me. And it doesn't matter of if we disagree or agree with what I'm doing, he will at least put his 2 cents in and at least try to help. And I gotta give, because every time I've ever reached out to him, he's always done that, whether it's been about bills, about the committees he's in, or just asking questions for clarity or better understanding, so that I can help people better understand it, because I don't see people out here explaining these bills that are coming out, because we just had the North Star Act press conference yesterday, right? I don't see people talking about that in the community. How is the North Star Act going to affect our communities, right? because they're talking about how much money it's going to bring. But you know what's crazy is, what did Biggie always say? More money, more problems. Because everybody want to talk about all this money, but nobody wants to talk about the problems that come with that payola, with that moolah. Because there's always problems when money's at play. That's one of the number one things that get people killed out here. Money. What did Big Worm say to Smokey? Fucking with my money is like fucking with his with my emotions. More money, more problems, and people don't even understand that. It don't make problems go away. It don't make it go away, because if money did make problems go away, Diddy would be cool right now.
Right.
Diddy be cool.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. These police departments would be cool. These city governments would be cool, but they not, and they should never be okay for the type of money and non-disclosure agreements that are signed every day in America to sweep shit under the rug. And because these families don't understand the contracts, because that's what I'm going to call it, a contract, because the non-disclosure agreement is a contract. I'm sorry, there ain't no other way around that. It's a contract. It's a contract for you. They're going to pay you to shut the fuck up. And if you do say anything, they're going to come and take all that money back. So why do you think a lot of these families, when they make settlements, even though they made a settlement with the city, that doesn't mean that the city agrees to that they admitted any wrongdoing. It's just the fact that if they went to court, they would lose. That's it. That's it. They would never admit any guilt in those civil suits. Never. That's why you will see payments, Ricky Cobb. They'll be paid. No lawyer wants to go to trial. None of them. Even though I would love for a civil trial for one of these police cases here in Minnesota. Yeah, I would have loved for the lawsuit that was just settled the other day in City Council, the Minnesota Freedom Fighters. I would have loved for that to go to trial, because I would have loved for people to see how they were paying these nonprofits to sit there and watch protesters. Because that would have came out in open court. All them contracts, the relationship between Mayor Frey and the Freedom Fighters. Man, that relationship would have came out. But now won't nobody talk about the shit, because they got an NDA. And I know that we're still talking about Blackness, because that shit protects them. And all because it's money, we think that shit's okay. We want the because I don't even see money as being accountability anymore. It shouldn't be no form of, it shouldn't even be considered a type of justice. It really shouldn't. Because are we putting dollar values on our lives? Now I understand where Pac said we worth more dead than alive. Especially at the hands of the police. Because that's what's crazy to me. That shit just blows my mind, man. We are, though. We're literally, what's crazy, John Till, is that somebody gonna end up trying to whack us. And if they do potentially end up coming through and being successful, that's when we're gonna blow up and people gonna take us serious.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that nigga was a real one.
Yep.
Did y'all hear his music too? Oh, that nigga was a real one. That nigga wasn't, knowing damn well they didn't fuck with us.
Yep.
Knowing damn well they didn't fuck with us. That's what's crazy. That's why people have to stick close to the ones that show you loyalty. Fuck that love shit, because love got a price. Love has a price. They say love don't cost a thing. That's a motherfucking lie. Loyalty don't cost a thing. Niggas got the game fucked up. Loyalty don't got a price. Love do. That's what I really, people don't. We've been taught everything that we needed to know. It was just crazy of how misconstrued or fucked up or took in and then misconstrued to us. That's the whole problem, man. We had to look at that shit for what it really was, because people always told us, don't hate the player, hate the game. What was they telling you? I was telling like, shit, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Don't. But I really didn't. I really didn't understand what they was talking about back then. But now I see. Don't hate the player. Don't hate me for it. Because I'm only being allowed to do this because of somebody else. And that somebody else could really potentially stop it, but they don't want to. Because it makes money. Right? This game makes money. There's money on both sides, regardless if you are fighting crime, fighting the drug war, or you're involved in it. You want to keep going. You want it to keep going. There's money on both sides of that shit. And so much money because what? Crime pays. Crime pays. Crime pays. And we don't understand that. We're nothing but dollar signs to these people. Dollar signs. Because I'll say it again. How can, we just heard Minneapolis, they just got an extra $2 million, and that was only going to help 137 people. Not families, people. How the fuck is that even possible? I just think about that. Damn, 137 people with $2 million. Damn, I could do a lot with that. I could do a lot with that. And I really could do a whole lot more for more than 137 people too. I could probably do stuff for about 1,370 people. But they don't think like that. They don't, because everybody got to get paid at the top. They got the administration costs. Big brother got to get paid. Taking care of little brother. That's why I say this shit's a Ponzi scheme too. Popularity contest. You eat my butt, I'm gonna eat your butt. That's how I literally see this shit now. Fuck the dress. You eat my butt, I eat your butt. What? No, I don't get into that, playboy. Crazy shit. But it's Friday. It's Friday. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their beautiful day.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining in to the Urban Conservative. Also, the earlier before my show was the Coffin's Colonizer. He talked about Mia, I think that's what she went by, missing in action. No, I don't know if that's what it was for, but I talked about Jay-Z and Issa Rae. I think people really need to pay attention to what is going on. Because I do believe that the year 2024 is the year of the truth. I don't know. I've looked at various ways of how could, is there some kind of thing that number wise or sign wise or anything that just says that okay, year 2024 is the year of the truth? Because you hear so many people saying it and couldn't find anything. So I'll just say it. The year 2024 is obviously the year of truth because we've seen so many truths come out. I always thought that Mr. what is his name? Snowden,
Eric Snowden.
was in prison.
Edward Snowden, yeah.
Yeah, Edward Snowden. I always believed that, from my understanding, he was in prison. He's not.
He's not in a actual prison, but he's like locked away somewhere, right?
No,
like he can't come to the U.S. or some shit.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't either. But yeah, he's in Russia.
Yeah,
not in a prison.
But he can't go to just any country, because if he goes to any country,
because
he will be expedited back to the U.S. So in theory, I mean, he technically is, like, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, no, I mean, he kind of is, but they treat him good over there, though. Putin likes him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Tara Meade was brought up too. I don't even know who that is. But I seen she was brought up, and somebody else was brought up too about being released. Some American, and Putin said he's been way too nice to America. Way too nice. But I really listened to a lot that he said, because I listened to it this morning and last night. And I will say this, damn, he said a lot in those 2 hours. I was kind of blown away from a few things of how the dollar's going down and how the people from BRICS and how much they're up and coming, and how much China.
Think about how much of the world's population and the world's GDP the BRICS nations, or as they're known now, BRICS Plus, actually represents. And there's like 30 some other countries that have signed up and are planning on signing up to be a part of BRICS. The G7 nations are shaking in their boots, and they should be. Well, because it shows the power of the black and brown, the global south of the world.
Right.
Like, we really are the majority. Melanated people of the world are the majority. And so, like, these Western nations, as they call them, really do have to start looking at themselves and the decisions that they make, and how it actually affects the majority of the population versus the small, quote unquote, industrialized countries and all the stuff that we consume and just throw away for no reason, for example.
Right, because people definitely, because he said some big shit, man. And one of the things that he said that it makes me wonder of why he said it. And it's like, is he, because I'll tell you right now, people want to talk about viral. I think that damn video's got 100 million views right now. It ain't even been up 24 hours yet. That's the crazy part. So you got people all over the world that wanted to watch this damn Putin and Tucker Carlson. Yeah, 121 million in 16 hours. That's insane. That's insane. And the shit that man says on there of that America needs to close its border for the simple fact that if we don't, that we got a whole nother 9/11 coming, because we're allowing these people to come in. And it's not about the fact that they don't dislike us. It's about the fact that they dislike our government and want to hurt our government. It ain't even so much to do about us, the people. It's our government. And it's just sad of how people will sit there and think about it. They just want to hurt us. They just want to do this. They don't want to do. No, it's about our government and how America has bullied other countries, how America has took over and literally has killed leaders in other countries. That's what I'll tell you right now, because I don't honestly feel that none of these people got any issues with me, because I ain't got nothing with them. I ain't got no power to do nothing, just like they ain't got no power to do nothing either. So what is the only way to fight back when people aren't listening to you? Right? Silence equals violence. And until people fully understand that, America says that we are a country with integrity, that we are a country that believes in freedom. Our agendas, our policies don't always show freedom. They don't always show that we're a country that is for all. So don't blame people being mad at America for some of the things that they've done, because through history, Nelson Mandela, Gaddafi, some great people that were, I feel, no shit, the evidence is there that America really tried to silence and kill. And then they uplifted the Osama bin Laden's, they paid for them to be able to do the things that they were doing, but then when it got out of hand, want to just blame it all on them, just like what America does here with black men. They give us the crack, they give us the guns, and then want to penalize us like fuck for it, but not the people that are actually bringing it in, right? They don't want to go at the CIA or the FBI or the DEA, alphabet boys, right? Because then it exposes the government for participating in proxy wars and funding proxy wars, right? So I'm gonna leave off at there. I'm gonna let John Tell get a couple things in, and then I'll be right back. So go ahead, my brother.
Bet. So make sure y'all go and check out the episode that just aired a couple hours ago, The Colonizer's Coffin. I touched on African exploration, whether it was the western or southern coast of Africa that traveled to the Americas, or whether it was the Horn of Africa or the eastern coast of Africa that traveled to India. We got around. The white historians and archaeologists and whatnot like to say that we were not seafarers, but evidence shows contrary. And we also covered, as Chaz mentioned, MIA and her allegations against Jay-Z, how he not only blackballed her, ruined her career. She was also married to a rich billionaire family that seems to be one of the top elite families of the world, who basically ruined her, stole her son, and will not let her see her son, and prevents her from, I believe, entering the US. And so she's had enough, and she goes on a big rant about it. And just like so many other people, Kanye West, there are number of people who may come off like they're just delirious or having a mental health crisis, but does that mean that they're speaking falsehoods? I think that this case needs some looking into, so I definitely cover that. And then I also cover how Issa Rae touches on how Hollywood, i.e. the writing industry, the movies, TV shows, a lot of black themed shows and programs have been getting canceled as of recently, or on the decline since 2020, and the promises that were made by companies, organizations, writing studios, and whatnot on the onslaught of George Floyd, 2020 racial awakening, DEI incentives, and all that, like, and the impact that it has made. But were they really serious about making those promises? I don't think so. A lot of us don't think so. And the proof is in the pudding now that a lot of these shows 4 years later are starting to get canceled. But it also comes in cycles reminiscent of 30 years ago in the 90s, going into the 2000s, how the same thing happened. And it actually is just, they use us as a stepping stone to get more credibility for their network so that they can gain more money and then go mainstream. So tune in to The Colonizer's Coffin. Check out more in-depth information on what I'm talking about. And appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a blessed day. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to both our programs. And Chaz, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you. And there you have it, folks. Redefining Blackness, from resistance to empowerment. I hope this conversation sparks reflection and inspires change. Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Urban Conservative. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep pushing for progress. Win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell. I mean, heaven or jail. Wish me well. See y'all later. Urban Conservative.